Welcome, I'm Yvonne and here's what happened this week. Taiwan's president has championed progress made on indigenous rights as the country marked Indigenous Peoples Day on August 1st. Rick Lauer reports.
It's Indigenous Peoples Day in Taiwan, and for the first time the country's president is holding her annual meeting with community leaders outside of the capital Taipei. She's gone to the south, where most of Taiwan's indigenous people live.
在等一下的会议中，仪将主委也会详细的说明这几年来政府推动原住民族转型正义跟历史正义的各项成果，包括在长照资源方面的进步，在语言文化复振上的进步，都是有目共睹。
Improving the lives of Taiwan's indigenous population has become a hallmark of Tsai's presidency. Just after coming to power in 2016, she formally apologized for rights abuses, armed attacks, and land seizures going back over 400 years, when the Han Chinese first migrated to Taiwan. During Tsai's term, Taiwan has also officially recognized indigenous languages, introduced protected indigenous seats in legislatures, and increased compensation for past injustices. But the country's nearly 600,000 indigenous people still face discrimination in education and work, higher unemployment, and lower standards of living than the rest of the population. Many indigenous people feel the government's policy changes have yet to make a difference in communities.
A lot of issues or indigenous rights is already being legalized, but the implementation is always the issues. So I would say the indigenous people's rights in Taiwan still remain more on law on paper rather than law in action.
It's been 29 years since Taiwan officially recognized its original inhabitants. For indigenous people, it was a crucial step toward equality, a necessary journey that many feel is far from over. Justin Wu and Rick Lauert for TaiwanPlus.
In the event of a natural disaster or war, being able to communicate is a matter of life or death. That's why Taiwan has been trying to secure satellite internet capability. Bryn Thomas has the latest.
Taiwan's access to the global internet currently relies on 14 undersea cables. Earlier this year, 2 of these cables were cut by Chinese fishing vessels. These incidents highlighted a clear weakness in the country's national security. And when Russia invaded Ukraine in early 2022, one of Moscow's first targets was Kyiv's communication infrastructure. The war in Ukraine has underscored the need for a robust satellite internet infrastructure around Taiwan. Such a system uses a network of low-orbit satellites to provide service across a wide area. It's more reliable and robust than cable-based systems, and importantly for Taiwan, it's less vulnerable to natural disasters and attack.
它一端在天上嘛，比较难破坏。对。另外一端呢，它是一个小的蝶形天线，很容易移动。我们明年大概就会在全台湾大概700多个点都会有这样的碟子。我们有跟一家叫做 OneWeb 来谈，那他就告诉我说，到了年底，全台湾都可以收得到他们的讯号。
The UK-based OneWeb was not Taiwan's first choice. Like Ukraine, Taiwan had originally wanted to work with Starlink, the world's largest satellite internet provider, and a company headed by Elon Musk. But Musk reportedly asked for full control of the satellites, and the businessman's other interests, such as Tesla, rely strongly on China, which claims Taiwan as its own territory. These concerns forced Taiwan to look elsewhere and to come up with a multi-company solution. Now, OneWeb and other providers may help Taiwan cast a wider net.
还有另外一家叫做 SES， 除了 Starlink 之外，之后还有 Amazon， 它有一个叫做 Kuiper， 还有 Telesat， 慢慢变成3家、4家、5家、6家。那而且这个没有排挤效应，我的这个卫星的碟子，我可以想办法去收到好多个不同的。
Using this strategy of multiple providers, Taiwan hopes to avoid placing all its security eggs in one satellite basket. Justin Wu and Bryn Thomas for TaiwanPlus.
More and more women in Taiwan are prioritizing their careers over starting a family. And as this number grows, egg freezing, which gives them the option of having children later in life, has also grown in popularity. But for many women, access to this treatment can still be very limited. Yvonne has the details.
Hoping to increase her chances of having healthy children in the future, 33-year-old Vivian Tong is preparing to have her eggs frozen. A single career woman, she wants to have more options later in life. while spending her current time concentrating on her work. And Tong is not alone. A recent study from the National Taiwan University Hospital found that the number of women aged between 35 to 39 who are choosing to have their eggs frozen has nearly doubled in the past 3 years. For many, it's basically become a form of insurance.
他年纪越来越大，可能不好生啊，生不出来。那另外一方面就是，其实我发现，就我跟我的朋友之间，我们也都蛮重视，就是未来可能小孩子的健康程度。那就是其实也有查到资料说，卵子对于宝宝的发育是蛮重要的。
Egg freezing is becoming increasingly popular in Taiwan. This is happening as people here are getting married later in life, with the average age for a first marriage hitting a record high this year, at almost 32 years old. Taiwan's birth rate is also among the lowest in the world. Some local governments see egg freezing as a solution and started to subsidize the technology. The founder of Taiwan's first egg bank, Lai Xinhua, predicts that demand will jump this year.
其实预估今年可能会更多，今年应该会，因为现在普遍未婚的女性都有这个冻卵这个 sense 她们也真的有需求，所以我预估今年说不定有可能比去年又成长超过50%。
But even though women like Tong have more options than previous generations, they still face restrictions. Under Taiwan's current law, women cannot use their frozen eggs unless they have a male spouse. And authorities say the rule won't change anytime soon.
还要再审慎评估，因为毕竟这个会涉及到不同的这个议题啦，哈，包括伦理啦，还有这个医疗啦，哈，还有法治面啦。
Although there are still limits under Taiwan's law, Tong feels a lot more secure with her future options expanded. And a lot could still happen in the next few years, whether she's able to find a life partner or if Taiwan adopts more progressive policies. Clive Wang and Eugene Huang for TaiwanPlus.
It's currently land crab breeding season in southern Taiwan when countless crustaceans head to their breeding grounds. Our reporter Sandy Chi was there to see how a national park and local residents are offering the crabs a helping hand.
Countless crabs carrying their eggs and heading across the land to release them into the sea. Each year, from July to August is the peak of land crab breeding season in Tainan. Alone here around Taijiang National Park is home to 32 species of land crabs. Unlike other national parks in Taiwan, Taijiang is a wetland park located in the tropics, the perfect habitat for land crabs. Among the different species in the park, the most iconic is the brown land crab. Male crabs can grow up to 13 centimeters across, while female ones can reach 11 centimeters. An unusually large size for the creatures in this part of the world.
应该是我们台湾这边最大的这个体型，那个族群量呢，应该也是台湾就是说集中度最强的地区。
The park says the crabs are threatened by poaching, pollution, and climate change. But the biggest cause of crab death is traffic. In 2021, the national park began instituting measures to protect crabs when they're crossing roads and to help them reach breeding grounds safely. This included putting up warning signs and laying down fabric to help the crabs climb up and down steep curbs. And to help keep them safe, many locals are also pitching in.
我们小时候就很经常看到了，也是我们小时候是我们的童玩呐。
Since the conservation efforts began, there has been a noticeable change in crab numbers. The park counts the creatures by marking them and noting the time and date they were spotted.
保护路线重要就是，以生物来讲，有时候会胜过于科学吧。对环境的敏感度会比较敏感。那它能够在这边，生存，而且有这么大量的话，表示这边的环境就是很好啊。
Back in 2021, around 4,000 pregnant brown land crabs were found during the entire breeding season. But this year, around 5,000 of them were spotted in just 5 days during the season's peak.
这只鹿蟹的话，它的小 baby 大概有40万只、50万左右哦。
大花升起的时候，我们把道路给封起来，好，封起来之后呢，那大家可以在这个时间呢，大家可以用走路的，或者甚至于骑脚踏车进去的话，我敢跟你保证，骑脚踏车的也会把脚踏车停在那边，自己用走的。
To live in harmony with the land crabs, the park had several street lights specially redesigned in 2020, as the old lights drew the crabs away from their breeding grounds. While the park and locals are working hard to protect the crabs, they've also been known to cause problems for some fish farmers.
因为它的作用跟老鼠差不多，老鼠会挖洞，那凶狠圆轴蟹它也是会去挖洞。啊，土体的话，它挖洞的时候会跟东家跟西家的水呢会掺杂在一起。如果它挖穿的时候，大家的鱼就跑过来跑过去了。
Despite the problems the crabs cause, the community still wants to live in harmony with them. They hope to make the creatures a local icon, both to help attract tourists and to prove that their conservation efforts have worked. John Su, Peachy Zhuang, and Sandy Chi for TaiwanPlus.
Fans of Western classical opera in East Asia don't need to travel to La Scala in Italy to get their fix. They can go to Thailand instead. Our reporter Joyce Zhen meets a Taiwan-born opera singer who's been coaching talent in Bangkok to become world-class vocalists.
Hearing this, you'd think you're in Vienna or Milan. But these singers are in fact in Bangkok, Thailand, at Heavenly Voice Nancy's studio, run by Taiwanese-born American vocalist Nancy Ping Wei. She's been teaching classical voice for almost 30 years at one of Asia's premier music schools, Mahidol's College of Music, about an hour from Thailand's capital. Her students have gone on to perform in Austria, Japan, France, the US, and Italy, just to name a few places. Nancy was born and raised in Taiwan's central Nantou County, at a time she says when classical music wasn't super popular.
I grew up in central Taiwan, and during that time, it's in school, if you ask around, not many really study pursuing in classical music. I learned singing from my father. In the car, every driving trip, we was singing through from the first minute until we arrived at destination.
After completing her bachelor's and master's degrees in the US, Nancy moved to Thailand with her husband. That's where she found her calling, teaching classical voice.
This responsibility suddenly hit me. I have to do well. Many young singers are in my hand.
Nancy also came to realize that the Thai language actually gave her students a special advantage in learning classical Western opera.
The vowels can go above the letters, below, on the right, on the left. And so this interesting sound of Thai language make it very easy to teach German, French, Italian, English.
Nancy's protégés, like these university students, hope to perform on stages around the world one day, and perhaps even teach students of their own. And nothing would make Nancy prouder than to see her students achieving their dreams and sharing their heavenly voices. Alex Chen and Joyce Zhen in Bangkok for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching Here's What Happened. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, we leave you with images of the salt harvest at Salt Flats in France. I'm Yvonne Young. Take care, and I'll see you next time.